So why would I put money in a whole life insurance policy if the cash value only grows between 4 and 5% per year, especially if I can put money in the market and earn between 7 and 8% per year? The answer is because the cash value grows safely and it also has a really nice tax benefit. I'll give you a quick example of how people often approach this. So I recently met with someone who works at Goldman Sachs, and he has a diversified portfolio. Now, he has his fixed income assets, which could include money in money market funds, CDs, corporate bonds, treasury bills, and fixed annuities. What's common about all of those accounts is he has to pay taxes on the gains. For example, if he's earning between 4 and 5% in treasury bills and a 40% tax rate, his effective return is much, much lower. Might be closer to 3 to 3.5%. Whereas with a whole life insurance policy, if I'm earning the same 5% return, and that's tax-free, that's often where it becomes a no-brainer. So with a whole life insurance policy, typically we'll see one interested in the cash value. And the reasons why are three. One, your money grows safely, meaning it's not invested in the market. Regardless if the market is tanking or if the economy is tanking, you'll still see your money go up. It's very easy to access your money. If you request a loan, you typically get it within 2 to 3 days. And if we follow IRS rules, which is very easy to do, you can get to it tax-free. Now, the first question that always comes up is, what are the drawbacks? The big drawback when you're getting a whole life insurance policy for cash value is always going to be the upfront hit, specifically the first year, where you will see less in cash value than what you paid into the policy. I'll show you an example in a couple minutes. But that's the biggest drawback. However, when someone looks at a policy and says, okay, if it's tax-free and I'm going to get a 5% internal rate of return over 20 years, and that's tax-free, that is an absolute no-brainer for someone in a 30 or 40% tax bracket. The reason why is because they know that that 5% tax-free is effectively closer to 7 or even 8%. I'll show you exactly what I mean. So let's take a look at what that investment banker I mentioned is doing. He's shifting money from other assets he has over to a whole life insurance policy. He's moving a big amount of $2.5 million, but not just in a lump sum. That does not make any sense. So what we've got here is the exact illustration. Here we go, where he is moving $625,000 per year for 4 years, and his priority is cash value. Let's hit on the drawback first. He funds $625. His cash value is $577. That's less than what he paid in. Specifically, it's a loss of 7.65%. So he does take a hit initially. Now, when you look at the internal rate of return, this is not the yearly return, that'd be your annual yield. This is your overall average. He's negative for the first 3 years. And by the 4th year, or at this point in time, he's paid a total of $2.5 million. His cash value is worth more than $2.5 million. That's also why we see a positive internal rate of return in year 4. And he also doesn't pay anything after that point in time because he doesn't want to. Now, look at year 20. The internal rate of return is 5%. And again, we're following IRS rules here, which means he can book that as a tax-free growth rate. What's the advantage to that? I'll show you right now. So here's the exact policy we just looked at. But in purple, you'll see this taxable equivalent IRR. What does that mean? Well, that column shows what he would need to earn in a money market or treasuries in order to net the same return that we see in the IRR column. So for example, if we focus on year 20 Down at the bottom, where his IRR is 5%, that taxable equivalent IRR shows 8.33%. So here's exactly how I would explain this. If I have money in treasuries and I'm earning 8.33%, I know that's unrealistic right now, but if I'm earning 8.33% and my tax rate is 40%, well, I'm going to have to pay taxes on that. And after I pay 40% tax on my money that's earning 8.33%, my net after tax is going to be 5%. So what you'll see someone say, especially when they're combining the safety of these life insurance policies, is if I can earn 5% in a life insurance policy, which is a hands-off product, I don't have to think about it. I know it'll only go up over time, and it's tax-free. That's the equivalent to getting 8.3% in treasuries or a taxable asset. Why would I not do this? It's a no-brainer. That's often what I'll hear individuals express who haven't been exposed to this before, and they're in a higher tax rate. If you're in a 40% tax rate, it's an absolute no-brainer. At 30% and above, it still makes a lot of sense. I will say, if I'm not in a high tax rate, it can still work beautifully. There's a lot of people we work with who are not in 30 and 40% tax rates that still utilize cash value life insurance. But to really feel the buying power that you see illustrated in this example, if you're in a higher tax rate, you are going to realize those benefits more than others because you've got to pay taxes on other assets. We always have to pay tax. Like with a life insurance policy, the money that you put into the policy, you've already paid taxes on it. We fund it with after-tax dollars. So the IRS gets their money no matter what. But when I look at the growth and the tax benefit of the cash value, this is often where people are very attracted to this product. So to answer that question, why would I put money into a whole life insurance policy if I'm only earning 4 to 5%? The answer is because one, it's safe. I know it'll go nowhere but up over time. And then two, the tax benefit makes it feel a lot stronger than that 4 to 5% rate. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.